Tervetuloa taas Kuningaskunnan tuuli-ohjelmasarjan pariin. Palestiinalaishallinto saa vuosittain myös valtavasti muuta länsimaista tukea. Tässä jaksossa katsomme, mitä palestiinalaiset itse ajattelevat tästä Suomen ja muiden länsimaiden tuesta. Vain harvat palestiinalaiset uskaltavat julkisesti puhua siitä, mitä he oikeasti ajattelevat, sillä palestiinalaishallinto toimii omiaan kohtaan diktatuurin tavoin. Abbasin laillinen virkakausi päättyi jo liki 10 vuotta sitten ja hänen suosionsa tavallisten palestiinalaisten keskuudessa on olematon. Abbas on kohdellut arvostelijoitaan kovalla kädellä ja sananvapaustilanne paheni entisestään kesällä 2017, kun Abbasin hallinto sääti lain, jonka myötä myös netin uutissivustoilla tai sosiaalisessa mediassa Abbasia tai hänen hallintoaan kritisoivat voivat kansallisen yhtenäisyyden nimissä päätyä vankilaan. Yksi harvoja tavallisten palestiinalaisten ääniä on Shufatin pakolaisleirillä kasvanut toimittaja Bassem Eid. Hänet itsensä pidätettiin jo Arafatin aikana vuonna 1996.
I was arrested by Yasser Arafat in that time, but I was so lucky that I kept in jail only for 25 hours because the only one who succeeded to release me was the former U.S. Secretary Warren Christopher under Bill Clinton administration.
Pidätyksestä syntyneen kansainvälisen huomion tähden Bassem Eid on voinut sen jälkeen puhua ilman palestiinalaishallinnon väliintuloa. Toimittaja Bassem Eid on tutkinut palestiinalaisten ihmisoikeuksia jo 30 vuoden ajan. Mistä palestiinalaisten kärsimys oikein johtuu?
In my opinion, the Palestinians are suffering because of their leadership. We, the Palestinians, firstly suffered from the Arab leaders because the Arab leaders are the one who opened their country's doors to the Palestinians during the 48 war. And this is how the Palestinians remain refugees in the Arab countries since 48 until now. In my opinion, after the Oslo Agreement, we start suffering from our own leadership. I didn't see that the Palestinian leadership since the Oslo Agreement until today succeed to improve at least the daily life of the Palestinians. If you will come to any ordinary Palestinian and asking him, how is your life today and how it was before the Oslo Agreement, he will tell you that my life after the Oslo Agreement becomes worse and worse. Why? Because of the corruption of the Palestinian Authority. Because the Palestinian Authority is much more interesting to keep the current situation as a status quo in terms to gain money and power from the international community. I didn't see that the Palestinian leadership is really going to solve my problem. Probably my children or my neighbor's children who is going to solve it, but not the current Palestinian Authority.
Konflikti on siis palestiinalaishallinnolle kuin sampo, joka syytää heille ilmaista rahaa. Mutta auttaako tämä ulkomainen apu tavallisia palestiinalaisia?
I think that that's the major problem. That's the major obstacle in solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is the foreign aid to the Palestinian Authority. I didn't see that from that money, which comes mainly from Europe and the United States, is benefiting the Palestinians at all. It is only benefiting those leaders who are sitting in the Muqata'a 24 hours, gaining money and power. But the Palestinians are only suffering from such aid that the international community is giving.
So are you saying that the money, for example, Finnish government is giving to the education is not helping the ordinary Palestinians?
Look to the textbooks that we have these days. It's full of incitement, full of hatred, full of violence. This is not the textbooks that I used to learn in my school when I was young. This is a completely different issue, which is, in my opinion, the Palestinian education system today, which is funded by the Finnish and the Belgians, by the way, became a part of the conflict rather than it is a part of the solution. By teaching people hatred and incitement, I don't think that there is any opportunity for any future peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. You know, I am a refugee. I interviewed a lot of pupils in the refugee camps in UNRWA schools. It's horrible. Pupils, 7, 8, 9 years old, want to commit a suicide, want to have a gun and to go and to kill Israelis in turn to liberate ourselves from the Israelis. When I ask them, who told you that? Who taught you that? They said, this is what we are learning in the schools. I think that that's frightened me as an Arab, as a Palestinian, much more than it is frightened the Israelis. Because I am his neighbor. He might kill me today as a result of the violence that the textbooks are teaching him in the schools.
Suomalaiset näyttävät olevan varsin hukassa Lähi-idän todellisuuden kanssa.
I know exactly what's going on here. They have no idea what is going on here. They have no idea where is UNRWA spending its money that they are giving. They have no idea where is the Palestinian Authority spending their money that they are giving. So for them, of course, it's fine. But if they will come here and live with us for a few years, I believe that they will escape tomorrow morning from the corruption that they are going to find from UNRWA and from the Palestinian Authority.
Länsimainen ja varsinkin eurooppalainen valtamedia, suomalainen media mukaan lukien, on jo pitkään näyttänyt vahvasti pitävän palestiinalaisten puolta tässä konfliktissa. If you ask an ordinary Finnish people who has been watching the media in Finland, what are the problems of the Palestinians, they will say that the problems are the walls and the problems are the settlements and the problem is that Israel is stealing their land. What do you think about these arguments?
I think that the problem and the major problem is the media itself. Is the media itself. Because I used to say since 10 years ago that media today almost lost the ethics of journalism. I think that the media right now trying to sell its own political views rather than to give or to provide information. And this is one of the major problems of the media, that today when the Israeli committed a violation of human rights, then it will appear on the front page of the international media. But when the Palestinian Authority made the same violation, the media just disappearing it. In my opinion, the media these days are just adding oil to the flame.
Do you have a clue why it goes so?
I think that this is a political interest. Probably in Europe, it's probably a little bit different than it is in the United States. Probably it is different than in the Asian media. But I can understand that Europe has a very long history of anti-Semitism. And looks like to me that Europe is getting back and back to its own history. And probably this is one of the major reasons why the European media right now became so critical to the Israelis and ignoring the existing of the Palestinians.
Myös Bassem Eid aloitti ihmisoikeusuransa järjestössä, joka valtamedian tapaan myös tutkii juutalaisten tekemiä vääryyksiä palestiinalaisille. Ongelmien todellinen luonne valkeni hänelle kuitenkin pian.
So I started my human rights career with the Israeli organization B'Tselem. I was the main field researcher over there for 7.5 years. And after the Oslo Agreement, I decided to resign from B'Tselem to create a Palestinian organization called the Palestinian Human Rights Monitoring Group, in turn to monitor and to control the violations committed by the Palestinian Authority against the Palestinians.
When did you discover that there is something going wrong between Palestinians?
See, I think that that's happened during the first Intifada. I remember that during the first Intifada, more Palestinians killed by Palestinians than Palestinians killed by the Israeli soldiers. I remember even the statistics very well. From the beginning of the first Intifada till Oslo Agreement, 600 Palestinians killed by the Israeli army. 1,200 Palestinians killed by Palestinians as accusing them as traitors or collaborators or whatever. Then I discovered that there is a huge internal Palestinian conflict here. I resigned from B'Tselem at the end of July 96. In December 96, I established the Palestinian Human Rights Monitoring Group. And we have our field researchers in the West Bank and in the Gaza Strip. We used to publish, reports about specific violations committed by the Palestinian security forces against the Palestinians.
Länsimaisen median lisäksi Bassem Eidia suututtavat palestiinalaisten puolesta suurta ääntä pitävät länsimaiset palestiinalaisaktivistit, jotka ajavat joko länsirannalla tuotettujen tuotteiden tai koko Israelin boikotoimista. Heidän joukossaan on myös monia kristillisiä toimijoita. Bassem Eidin kysymys näille itseään palestiinalaisten puolustajina pitäville on yksinkertainen.
Whom authorized you to speak on my behalf?
Näitä palestiinalaisaktivisteja näyttää Bassem Eidin mukaan oikeasti yhdistävän palestiinalaisten auttamisen sijaan viha juutalaisia ja Israelia kohtaan.
What we the Palestinians are benefiting from the activities of those people over there. When I am going to the campuses in the United States, these people are waiting to demonstrate against me. These people don't want me even to speak. They probably believe in the freedom of speech, but not for the Palestinians. It's for them. So they want to speak. They want to talk. But any other Palestinian is not allowed to come here and to speak. And they have, a lot of fights with such kind of people who call themselves pro-Palestinians. I think that these people, if we will look to their policy and their strategy, they are completely anti-Palestinians.
Esimerkiksi länsimaisten aktivistien synnyttämä BDS-liike pyrkii palestiinalaisten nimissä Israelin eristämiseen ja boikotointiin. Israelin tai israelilaisten tuotteiden boikotointi ei kuitenkaan koskaan ole ollut palestiinalaisten ajatus.
I think that 95% of the Palestinians has no idea what is the meaning of the boycott and who is the BDS. They have just no idea. We don't have BDS movement, by the way, neither in the West Bank nor in the Gaza Strip. We don't have. If you will go to the center of Ramallah every morning, you will find thousands of boxes of vegetables and fruits with the Hebrew writing. I believe that didn't come from Jordan or comes from Egypt. It came from Israel. Go to any supermarket today in all of the West Bank, you will find that the Israeli company Tnuva, its products is full in the West Bank. I remember one day I went to a refugee camp to a supermarket, and the small child came into the supermarket asking the owner if he is selling Coca-Cola. And the owner said, yeah, of course, it is in the fridge over there. Then the boy asked, is it Palestinian or Israeli? Then the supermarket said, of course, it's a Palestinian. Then the guy said, I don't want it. Then I ran after the child and I said, why you don't want to buy the Palestinian Coca-Cola? He said, because the Israeli one is much more tasty. I think that the Israelis are much more professional than we are. And each Palestinian today prefer to buy the Israeli product rather than the Arab product or the Palestinian product. It is very well known. I am buying things from a village near Jerusalem called Azarieh. I asked one supermarket, how many liters of milk you are selling from the Arab one and from the Israeli one? He said much more people ask for the Israeli one.
Maailman kiroamat israelilaiset settlementit länsirannalla ovat puolestaan palestiinalaisille hyvä tulonlähde ja suurin osa israelilaisten taloista siellä on palestiinalaisten rakentamia. Pelkästään näiden israelilaisten kylien rakentaminen työllistää tällä hetkellä noin 15 000 palestiinalaista, muista israelilaisten mukana Samarian ja Juudean alueelle syntyneistä työpaikoista puhumattakaan.
Today, any ordinary Palestinian worker prefer to work in Israel rather than to work under the Palestinian Authority. Why? Because the average monthly salary under the Israelis is 6 times more than it is under the Palestinian Authority. And this is why thousands, I can say, of Palestinian workers smuggling every day from the West Bank to inside Israel in turn to earn a better salary over there. They know that they might be arrested, they might be injured, they might be killed, but he still have such a huge challenge that I must have to do it, because working under the Israelis has much more dignity than working under the Palestinian Authority.
Palestiinalaishallinto on länsimaisella rahalla pitänyt huolen itsestään. Tavallisten palestiinalaisten hyvinvointi tai työpaikkojen luominen alueelle ei ole sitä kiinnostanut. Israel on se, joka tarjoaa tavallisille palestiinalaisille töitä. Länsirannalle eli Juudeaan ja Samariaan syntyneiden työpaikkojen lisäksi nykyään noin 100 000 palestiinalaista käy laillisestikin töissä Kanta-Israelin puolella, esimerkiksi Tel Avivin ympäristössä.
I am a person who believes that if Israel will succeed to increase the Palestinian economy, that probably will decrease the Palestinian violence. When I am meeting with Palestinian youths in the West Bank, which is most of them are jobless, then these people said, listen, I can go tomorrow, stab an Israeli, maybe I will be killed, maybe I will be arrested, but at least my family can get a salary, a monthly salary from the Palestinian Authority. I think that that's horrible. I think that the Israelis are very aware about the Palestinian economy, by the way. And I think that the Israelis every month trying to increase the number of working permits that they are issuing to the Palestinians.
Jos tavallisilta palestiinalaisilta kysyy, mitkä ovat heidän elämänsä 3 tärkeintä tavoitetta, kukaan ei Bassam Eidin mukaan mainitse turva-aitoja, settlementtejä tai edes palestiinalaisvaltiota. Ihmiset kaipaavat itselleen kunnollisia työpaikkoja sekä koulua ja toimivaa terveydenhuoltoa lapsille. Eurooppalaisen median perusteella saa sen käsityksen, että palestiinalaiset toivoisivat israelilaisten ja Israelin armeijan lähtevän pois tältä niin sanotulta länsirannalta. Pitääkö se paikkansa?
I once, asked for a group of youths in a refugee camp in the north of Ramallah called Gilazon refugee camp. And they said, imagine one day you will wake up and no one Israeli in the West Bank. What will happen? Then they said, oh my God, how we can survive? How we can survive? This is also something that we should have to blame the Palestinian Authority on it. Because I didn't see that the Palestinian Authority until now trying to take any kind of care for the future of the Palestinians. I didn't see. Even the Palestinian Authority still surviving from the Israelis. The Palestinian Authority itself. So imagine if the Israelis will disappear one day, I don't think that we will have a chance even to live for 2 days afterwards.
Gaza on palestiinalaisille elävä esimerkki siitä, mitä on elää ilman israelilaisia.
Look what is going on in Gaza. It's a hell after the Israelis left it, after the old settlers evacuated from Gaza. It's hell. These people, 2 million people, are the hostages of the Hamas movement right now. Look how the Hamas became so rich, building tunnels in millions of dollars, buying weapons in around $260 million a year, while their people has no electricity. As a Palestinian, I don't want to be under such kind of situation, at all not. And I think that the Palestinians right now start realizing more and more that we, the Palestinians, has no future under our own leadership, if it is in the West Bank or it is in the Gaza Strip.
Palestiinalaisilla on ajatuksilleen myös muuta vertailupohjaa.
If we want to look to the other Palestinians who are living in the Arab countries, I think that the situation of Palestinians who are living under the Israelis is much better. Secondly, if we want to compare these days between the level of life of Palestinians who still living under the Israelis and the Palestinians who are living under the Palestinian Authority, I think that the situation of the Palestinians who are living under the Israelis is much better than the situation under the Palestinian Authority.
Palestiinalaisten ja israelilaisten välinen konflikti on ollut juuttuneina samoihin asetuksiin yli 20 vuotta palestiinalaishallinnon synnyttämisestä asti.
I wish that my people one day will wake up with open eyes and start thinking how we can bring a change. I think that we need a change. And if any change will happen, it should have to be by us. We are not victims. We are not a weak people. We are so strong. And I believe that the Palestinians are the one who will be able to solve their conflict with the Israelis in the future, not the international community. I used to say all the time that this conflict has 2 owners, Palestinians and Israelis. And only the owners can solve the conflict without any intervention of any third party in this conflict.
Suurin apu näillä vuorilla 70 vuotta jatkuneen palestiinalaisten ja juutalaisten välisen konfliktin ratkaisemiselle siis on, että YK, EU, Suomi ja muut ulkopuoliset auttajat jättäisivät tämän Juudean ja Samarian alueen rauhaan. Paikan päältä katsottuna konfliktilla on ollut 3 ylläpitäjää ylitse muiden. Oslon sopimus, joka halvaannutti koko alueen kehittymisen, länsimaiden leväperäinen rahoitus korruptoituneelle palestiinalaishallinnolle ja YK:n alainen pakolaisjärjestö UNRWA. Kaikkien niiden takana ovat länsimaat. UNRWA on pitänyt osaa palestiinalaisista pakolaisleireillä jo liki 70 vuotta. Suomi on edelleen mukana pitkittämässä konfliktia myös UNRWAn kautta ja katsomme sitä lähemmin seuraavassa jaksossa. Viimeinen asia, josta Jeesus puhui ennen paluutaan taivaaseen, oli Samarian, Juudean ja nykyisen Itä-Jerusalemin alue. Hänellä on siis erityinen intressi juuri tämän nykyään länsirannaksi kutsutun alueen suhteen. Rukoillaan vielä yhdessä. Isä rakas, anna anteeksi, miten Suomi on pahentanut konfliktia täällä rahoittamalla korruptiota ja väkivaltaa. Vapauta tämä alue niistä valheista, joita siitä puhutaan ja joilla sitä hallitaan. Hallitkoon täällä sinun totuutesi. Tulkoon tänne sinun rauhasi ja toteutukoon täällä sinun tahtosi niin kuin taivaassa. Poikasi Jeesuksen nimessä. Aamen.